There are some things that poor people do that keep them poor, and there are some things that rich people do that keep them rich. Now, when I talk about poor, I mean financially poor. And when I talk about rich, I'm talking about actually sustainably rich. I'm not talking about somebody hit a meme stock and made $1 million. I'm talking about actual sustained real wealth. Now, before I go any deeper in this video, I want to give you a little bit of a warning, because if you are easily triggered, if you're easily offended, if you don't like hearing things that potentially could hurt your feelings, you probably don't want to watch this video, because I'm going to go over a lot of harsh truths in this video. So if you're easily triggered, this is a good time for you to leave. So now, if you are somebody who is struggling with money, the reality is that there are some things that keep people financially poor, and you can replace the word poor with broke or whatever you want. And there are two levels of this. You have the external level, and then you have the internal level. So I'm going to put poor right here. The external level are the things that we can't control. These are the things that are outside of us. So these are things like the way that the system is designed. This is things like the educational system, because school teaches people to be an employee and to rely on one stream of income, when we all know the people that own the most wealth are not employees. It is the business owners and the investors, yet our school system teaches people to just be an employee. It is the way that the banking system works, because guess what? Banks profit when you're financially uneducated. Banks profit when you're financially poor. It's the way that our tax system works, because the reality is if you are an investor and a business owner, you get bigger tax breaks and tax deductions than if you are just an employee. So now, these things, the way that the system works, the educational system, the banking system, the tax system, even corporations, guess what? Corporations love it when people have no idea how to use their money, because you're going to just keep blowing money at these corporations. So these things externally keep people poor. This is the reality. Accept it or not, this is the reality. You can't change the way this system works. Now, you can either kick, scream, and cry, or you can understand it and do something about it. Because these same things that keep so many people poor also contribute to some people becoming extremely wealthy. Why? Because they understand how the system works. Now, I'm not saying you should contribute to the system. What I'm saying is understand the system. That way you can use this system to your advantage. Because these external things, yes, they do keep people poor, but it doesn't have to. Because once you understand how this external stuff keeps people poor, this is where you can get financially educated and stop letting this affect you. Because this stuff exists. This is already happening, and it's going to continue to happen. The education system sucks, and it's going to continue to suck. You can't change that. But what you can do is now learn that this is how the external stuff works, and stop letting this affect you. Then on the internal side, this is our consumerism culture. We spend money we don't have on things that we don't need to impress people we don't even like. I think that's Dave Ramsey who said that. We are spending all this money so we can look rich, which in reality is keeping us broke. We say that the reason why we're struggling is because the rest of the world, because of all this stuff. When in reality, sure, this stuff sucks. You can't control it, but it's not the only reason why you're poor. You're also poor because you don't know how to spend your money. You're also poor because you don't have any sort of budget. You're also poor because you don't know how to earn more money. You're also poor because you don't know how to spend money. You're also poor because you don't know how to save money. You're also poor because you don't know how to invest money. All these things internally we can control. We can't control this. We can't control what's going on here. You can't control what offers the bank is going to put out. Like when the 2008 housing market crash happens, we always say, well, it was led by predatory lending because banks kept offering these adjustable rate mortgages. They kept offering these mortgages with a low teaser rate to get people enticed to go out and buy a home. Well, that's only one part of the equation. The second side is people saying, oh, you're telling me that I make $50,000 a year and I can afford $1 million home? Sign me up. This is the financial education side, because guess what? Corporations are in the business of selling you things. They make money by selling you stuff. Every single business works like that. And if it didn't, then you probably wouldn't have a job, because your company is in the business of selling something. If they weren't selling their stuff, you wouldn't have a job. Banks are in the business of lending money. If they didn't lend money, you wouldn't have a job in the bank. The banks would be out of business. Now again, this doesn't mean that you have to be the one that's keeping the bank in business. This doesn't mean that you have to be the one that's keeping the corporation in business. You have to understand how to use the bank the right way. That way you can get the most value out of your bank, because most people are the ones that are giving all their money to the bank and getting nothing in return for it besides a whole bunch of liabilities. What I'm saying is understand how to use the banking system. Understand how corporations work, how they think, because now, yes, they are in the business of selling stuff, but that doesn't mean you have to buy all of their stuff. Now, going back to that question, the statement that I made about the adjustable rate mortgages, there's two parts to every situation, every scenario. Where on one end, you had the bank that was making these predatory loans. Then on the second side, you had people that wanted to take advantage of these loans. Yes, banks were greedy, but you can't say that the people weren't greedy either, where you want to go out and buy something that you can't afford just so you look like you're rich. There's two aspects to this, the external, the internal. You can bet the banks are going to continue being greedy, that they're going to do everything that they can to continue getting as many loans as possible. You can bet that corporations are going to continue to be greedy, that they're going to try to sell as much stuff as they can. You can bet that the tax code is going to continue to be greedy. They're going to continue to try to skin the middle class and take as much tax dollars out of them as possible, because it's the easiest to generate taxes from the middle class, because when you try to take it from the wealthy who have an army of tax advisors and accountants and attorneys protecting them, getting every single tax loophole possible, well, it's a lot harder to get a dollar out of them than it is somebody who's making $50,000 to $150,000 a year through their job. So you can bet that these things are going to happen, which is why you want to get educated now and understand the habits that are keeping some people poor and the habits that are keeping some people rich. Because now, just got to understand this is reality. This is happening, this has happened, and this will continue to happen. Now, once you understand that, what you can change is this. You can change the internal side of your mindset, and you can change the internal way that you manage your money. That way you can be better with your money. That way you can become wealthy yourself. That way you can take better care of yourself, your family, and your community. But that requires you to stop blaming the rest of the world. I agree, the system is made for you to be financially uneducated. The system is made for you to be financially poor. The system is made for you to not learn about money. Now that we understand that, let's stop crying about it and understand, okay, let's move past it and understand how you can take better care of yourself, because the reality is the system is designed for you to be financially poor. Now, let's move on. You know that. We have access to things like YouTube. You have access to more education than ever on your fingertips. You can read books. You can read audiobooks. You can take classes. Now that you're here, it's time to stop complaining about this, and let's move on to here. And now let's talk about some of the habits that keep people poor and some of the habits that keep people rich. Number one, not surprisingly, has to do with your mindset, because poor people keep telling themselves they can't become successful, either because of all the external things that I talked about, that the system is rigged against you, that everything is rigged against you becoming successful, or because of the way that you are. You can't become successful because of the way you look, your parents, your job, your income, whatever the reason is, you can't become successful because of where you come from. Well, I can guarantee that if you tell yourself that you can't become successful, that you will never have a chance to become successful. It's a fact. You can have all the financial education in the world. You can have all the tools in the world, but if your mindset is not geared for you to become successful, it will be impossible for you to become successful. That's why I call myself the minority mindset, because all success starts with the mindset. Because now once you believe, if your mindset tells you that you're going to become successful no matter what, if you truly believe that you can do it, what are you going to do next? You're going to start reading books. You're going to start listening to audiobooks. You're going to start watching YouTube videos. And then you're going to start learning. Maybe then you go out and take a class, and maybe then you start trying things. Maybe you'll fail, but at least you'll learn, and then you'll try something else, and then you'll try something else. And each time you're going to learn something new, and you're going to start making progress. And then 6 months later, you're going to realize, wow, I came pretty far. I didn't realize it when you're day-to-day working, trying to do things. You don't realize how far you've come. But then when you look 6 months ago and you thought, I didn't think that there was any other options for me. The deeper that you go, the more that you realize that there's so many opportunities out there, but it requires you to first believe that you can do it, right? And this is that part that you can't really teach. You have to literally just believe it and then start doing it. You have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, it is going to be completely impossible for you. Once you start to work on this mindset, and if you need help with this, watch YouTube videos, read some books. There are a ton of videos out there that talk about how to build confidence, how to develop your mindset. There's a ton of videos out there that can help out with that. Once you build the mindset, this then brings us to number 2, which is the rich habit of now understanding how to spend your money the right way. Because the reality is, for the majority of people, you're spending your way into debt, you're spending your way into poverty, while the majority of people are doing that. The minority of people are spending their money very differently. I was in California. I think I just came back yesterday. I'm recording this on Friday. I was in California as of yesterday, and I was meeting with this very successful business owner. He owns a media company, very large, makes millions of dollars a year. And he took me for a drive. And it was very interesting because as soon as I sat in his car, the first thing he tells me is about how he got a great deal on his car. He tells me about how he negotiated the price of this car, he bought the floor model, and he was able to get a steal for this car. Now, this guy makes millions of dollars a year. He doesn't have to negotiate $20,000 off of the price of this car. But he was sitting there bragging about such a good deal that he got on his car because he understands the value of that dollar. Because he knows where he came from. He didn't grow up with money. So for him, he knew how hard he had to work with the money. He's not going to sit there and just part with his hard-earned money just because he can. And so this is understanding the spending aspect of knowing what is worth spending money on and what is not worth spending money on, and when it's okay for you to spend money. I don't want you to be one of those people that never spends money, that is constantly a penny pincher, that you cannot enjoy your life, that you can't spend money because you hear about people talking about how spending money is evil. That's not what I want. I want you to have all the nice things you want. I want you to have the luxury. I want you to have the nice cars, the nice clothes, the vacations, everything. But you have to be able to afford it first, and you have to know when it is the right time in your life to be able to buy it. Because the reality is, when you are in your 20s or your 30s, whatever the age might be, where you're trying to build, every dollar that you pull out and you go and spend on your car, your vacations, your restaurants, all the nice stuff, it's a dollar that cannot be put back into you, back into your business, back into your idea, back into your investments, back into your wealth. And every dollar that you pull out is $2 in the future, maybe $4, maybe even $10, depending on what you're investing in. So if you're spending $100 on a dinner that you could have put it back into yourself, that's $1,000 of future value that you just lost. Now again, this is where you have to balance your life, because you don't want to sacrifice every single happy and fun aspect of your life. That way you can build, but you have to know what's most important to you right now. What is the most valuable thing right now? Do you want to really work on building that wealth, or do you want to have fun and enjoy life right now? For me, when I was building, I was all in on building. And that's where I was spending all of my time, effort, energy, and money. I was in school. I was in law school. I was making over $100,000 a year. And so I was making decent money, but I was living in a very crappy little apartment. I was paying less than $400 a month. This included my rent, my utilities, my water, my cable, my internet, and everything to live in this apartment. And the reason why I was able to get it so cheap was because I didn't have a room. I slept on the living room floor. I had a little mattress that I kept in the hallway, and then every night I would drag the mattress out, put it down, lay down a sheet, go to sleep, wake up, fold my sheets, and then put the mattress back in the hallway, and then go back out. I wasn't spending money, although I could, because I was investing every penny I could back into me, back into my businesses, back into my investments, because I wanted to build. Even the first time I made $1 million in a year from my company or companies, I took home about $20,000. Not because I had so many expenses, but because I was reinvesting everything that I could back into the business. It's funny, first time I made $1 million, I did not feel like a millionaire. And I'm not talking about being worth $1 million. I mean actually generating $1 million worth of revenue in 1 year. And then I took next to nothing out for myself because everything was going back into the business. I had employees driving better cars than I was because I was so focused on building the business. I still have my $500 car. That's what I'm driving today. I was so focused on just building that I did not want to take that money out for myself. I knew I could take out 100 grand and go buy a nice car for myself. But that's 100 grand that I couldn't put back into the business because I was focused. I was focused on where I'm spending my money, putting the money back into me. And this is where you have to know when is the right time for you to start easing up on the gas pedal. When is it a good time now for you to start splurging on yourself? I don't want you to always be pinching pennies. I don't want you to sacrifice the nice stuff forever. But I want you to understand that time is very important and this short level of sacrifice of putting in the time and effort in the beginning, that way you can have way more success in the long term, is also extremely important. But this requires you now to have the discipline when it comes to spending, of knowing what you should spend on, what you shouldn't spend on, and how much you should be spending on. Because every time you spend $1 now, think of it as at least $2, if not $10 of your future money gone. And this is where you have to start thinking more financially, because when you have that financial mindset, when you're working on building you, when you're working on building your investments, or if you're working on building a business, you have to know where your money is going, because this is your money that's going out, that could be going to build your future wealth, but instead you wanted a vacation today. I'm going to actually give you another story because it's kind of related to spending. But when I was in college, I was working in the event planning company, and I was also working at weddings, where I used to play a drum called a tol at weddings. And I was really focused on the grind. I'm like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to become successful, because that was what was very important to me. That's what I wanted at that time. And I used to joke where I used to tell my friends, I'm not going on vacation until I get paid to go on vacation. Unless I'm getting paid to go on a vacation, I'm not going on a vacation, which was how focused I was, because I didn't want to waste money on things that weren't gonna make me money. And I didn't want to waste my time on things that weren't going to benefit me. That was how focused I was. And when I was playing this drum, I started finally getting gigs outside of my local area, where sometimes I was getting paid to fly somewhere, or I was getting paid to go drive to another state. And that was my form of a vacation, where I wasn't going somewhere unless I get paid to go somewhere. And so that was the mindset that I built, and kind of funnily, I kind of have developed the same mindset now indirectly, because I tell my wife now, we're not going to go anywhere unless we're getting paid to go somewhere. What does that mean? Recently, I've been getting booked for a lot of shows, a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews, speaking gigs. And so now, when do we go on vacation? Well, when I can get some podcast gigs. So, my wife might want to go to, let's just say, Florida. Well, I'll call up the podcast that I know in Florida and say, hey, do you guys have any openings? Would you guys like to do something? And then boom, 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 I line up 3 shows over there. Then we go to Florida. Now it is a paid trip, because now it's a business expense. We're going there for work. I'm going there to go to these shows, to go perform, to go do something at these shows. But then I also get to go to Florida. I also get to have some time in a nice Airbnb or a nice hotel. And, you have the downtime between the shows. So it's that mindset where, what is most important to you right now? And again, you got to decide which level of extreme that you want to be, because it's always this like temperature scale of extreme, we'll call it hot. And then you have the cold, the people that don't care, where you're going to go into debt to finance the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton. You're going to have all the nice stuff, even though you can't afford it, because that's what you want. That's the cold. Then on the extreme hot, you have, the crazy people. I think I kind of classify as a little bit crazy, where you're not going to spend a penny unless it's going to go back into you. And of course, now you have to know when to ease up on that pedal, because again, I don't want you just living small for the rest of your life. This is all about having the right mindset of understanding what's most important to you in your current stage of life. That way you can build your wealth. That way you can afford all the nice stuff that you want, because that's what we're working for. Money at the end of the day is buying you the freedom. That way you can have all the nice stuff that you want without having to worry about the price. Money is there to buy you the freedom. That way now you can go to wherever in the world that you want. Money is there to buy you the freedom for you to spend your time the way you want. Money is there to give you the freedom to eat whatever you want. Money is there to buy you the freedom. That way you can drive whatever you want. But you also have to understand how money plays a part in your life. That way you don't get obsessed over money. But you have to know how money plays a part in your life. Then it's putting your money to work by actually investing your money. And what happens is, for the majority of people and for poor people, it is, I'm going to spend my money and I'm going to enjoy my money, and then I'm going to invest and save whatever I have left. And you might say, but Jaspreet, I don't live that big. I don't have that many expenses. I'm spending all my money and I have nothing left. We'll talk about earning money in just a minute. But what happens to the majority of people is you're spending your money, and then you wonder where all your money went, and then you have nothing left to invest and save. While what wealthy people and the minority of people are doing is they're always paying themselves first. You are investing your money first, and then you're spending whatever's left. This is the whole mindset shift of where I'm going to pay myself first. I'm going to invest my money first before I go out and make everybody else around me rich. And a simple way to understand this is just to buy the businesses of the things that you are already buying. And so it's this mindset shift of being a producer instead of a consumer. If you're going to eat at Chipotle, own some of the Chipotle corporation. If you're spending your money at Amazon, own some of the Amazon stock. If you're buying the Apple AirPods, maybe you should own some of the Apple. If you're going to Lululemon all the time, maybe you should own Lululemon stock. Now, this isn't the extent of financial education and analysis that you want to do, but it is a start. If you're spending your money at these companies, you got to start by owning some of the corporation first. You want to own the business where you're spending your money. You want to be a producer before you want to be a consumer. This is that investor mindset versus the spender, the consumer mindset. Wealth is made by being an investor, not by being a consumer. Being a consumer makes you look rich because now you have the Gucci, you have the Louis Vuitton, you have the Apple, you have the Beamer, you have all the nice stuff, but it's keeping you broke. The first thing you want to do is you want to be a producer first. So just start creating this mindset shift where you understand, if I'm going to be spending my money here, I want to own some of the business first. That way you're getting your share of the profits. These are the things that were never taught in school. It's painful for me to talk about this because these are the things that I wish that I learned when I was growing up. My parents came to this country with very little. My dad came to this country with less than $100, didn't know the language, he had to work his butt off. I was told to become a doctor because in the Indian traditional culture, the way you become successful is by getting a good degree, aka becoming a doctor, and then earning a big salary. But along the way, that was when I realized that it's not for me. Now, again, you have to understand how money plays a part in your life. You don't want to be obsessed by money, but you need to understand how money plays a part in your life. That way you're not now a slave to money. And that's what happens to so many people when you don't understand money. You're just working for a paycheck and you're trying to spin your wheels, trying to run in this rat race, trying to figure out how do you find your way out. And the way out isn't just by earning more money. I'll talk about that in just a second, but by understanding how to use your money, because real wealth is built through your investments. It's by spending less than what you bring in and investing the difference. This is where the real wealth is built, because wealthy people become wealthy by investing their money, and they stay wealthy by investing their money. Now, I'm not going to do a full dive of how do you actually invest your money in this video. I have other videos on that on this channel, but I also have a free guide on how to invest your money even if you don't have a lot of money, so you can start generating passive income. If you want to read this guide, it's completely free. I'll put the link to this guide if you want to download it and start reading it down in the description below. This is where things get fun when we talk about earning money. And the reason why I talk about earning money last or towards the end is because first you have to understand how to spend your money, and you have to know how to invest your money before earning money has the most value. Because if you asked people who have financial struggles, what is the biggest financial problem that you have? All of them would say it's an earning problem. I'm not earning enough money. But the reality for 90 to 95% of these people is it's not an earning problem, it's an expense problem. Because what happens to most people is when you say you have an earning problem and then you go out and you earn more money, you get a raise, you get a $10,000 raise. Well, what happens magically is your expenses, boop, go up with your new income. Now you get a newer car, you go on another vacation, you go and celebrate because you have more income and your lifestyle expands or inflates with your new income. So you don't want to have this lifestyle inflation when you have this income inflation, which is where now you have to understand how to earn your money the right way, because now once you build this financial education, you know how to put your money to work. You know how to use your money the right way. That way you can actually become wealthy by using your money as a tool. It is important and valuable to earn more money, but you have to know how to use your money the right way. This is where your income is important, because now you're using your money in a way that's going to build you the most wealth. And I was actually on a show before I recorded this video, and the guest was asking me, what is your motivation? Like, what makes you want to do what you do? Because, you have money. What is that motivation then after you have achieved money? And this is a very good question, because, people will always ask, when is enough? Why don't you stop? Why is it always trying to get more money? Like, when is it enough? But the reality is, it's not always about money. It becomes more about purpose and impact. Like in the beginning, when I was starting off as an entrepreneur, it was a lot about me proving other people wrong. What some people like to call the dark energy, because I was never supposed to be an entrepreneur. I went against what my parents wanted, what my family wanted, what everybody wanted and expected of me, and everybody thought that I had lost my mind, that I went crazy. And so I was getting questioning all the time. Jaspreet, why are you disgracing your family? Why are you throwing away all the efforts that your family did? Why are you throwing all of this stuff away? But they didn't have the same vision as me. But for me at that time, it was, I want to prove every single person wrong. I'm going to show you that I can do this. I want to show you that I can be an entrepreneur. I want to show you that I can succeed at what I want to do. So it was that type of mindset where I want to prove everybody wrong in the beginning, because I was just so fed up. It was out of spite in the beginning. But then I started to see more success we saw more success with businesses. I've built businesses. And then it became more of an impact purpose, because now with the financial education, with things like Minority Mindset, with things like Market Briefs, which is my financial newsletter company, now we're making a much bigger impact where we are affecting people's financial education. We're affecting how people learn about money. We're affecting what people absorb this financial content, which was never accessible to regular people. Now it's becoming much more about, I want to provide more value to the world. I want to provide more impact to the world. These are the changes that I want to do. And now the impact for me is really trying to spread the stuff, provide the value to the world that I wish that I would have had. And this is the type of stuff that now starts to drive me. And you have to understand that this is now a much more powerful driving factor, because it's something that I want to do. It's like asking, why does Warren Buffett go to work every single day? I mean, he has all the money in the world. He could sit in his private jet, travel to the most exotic and most expensive resorts and places in the world every single day and do everything. I mean, anything that money can imagine, he could do it and never have to even stress about the price. But he doesn't. Why does he get up and go to work? Because he loves what he does. He does it for the purpose. He does it because it's what excites him. And this is where now you have to understand, when it comes to earning more money, that if you can do something that excites you, it's not just about the money. You're doing something because you love it. And when you exceed and excel at that, then the money will follow, and the amount of money you can make increases because now you're doing something that you love. Like when I started Minority Mindset, I did not start Minority Mindset with the goal of making money. I was actually doing this as a hobby because I was working on a completely different business. I was working on a sock company. And I started Minority Mindset as a hobby because I got scammed and screwed over in that company. And then I started making videos on Minority Mindset, and the channel started to grow. And one of my friends even asked me, Jaspreet, how much money are you making from your YouTube channel? I was at like 10 or 12 or 15,000 subscribers, something in that range. And this is back before YouTube had any sort of monetization requirements. Anybody could monetize any video, no matter how big your channel was, no matter how many views you had. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, how much money are you making from your advertisements? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not making any money from my advertisements. So he then goes into my YouTube backend with me and shows me that I could turn on YouTube advertising by clicking one button, and that I could start making money from my videos, and that I could have been making money from my videos, but I didn't, just because I didn't know that that was possible. So for me, Minority Mindset was something that I just did for fun because I was working on something else that was actually making money. Slowly, Minority Mindset started to grow, and that's when I decided to work fully on Minority Mindset and then the Minority Mindset companies, because I really enjoyed it. Not because we were making more money, because we were actually making significantly less money from Minority Mindset than the other stuff that I was doing. But for me, this was much more enjoyable. And I liked it, and I saw the impact, and I saw the value, and I saw the purpose of this, and I wanted to be aligned with that, because I figured over the long term, it would provide much more healthy vibes and much more healthy energy and much more positivity for me, and that was something that I could align with, and so that's what I did. And now Minority Mindset has grown from just a YouTube channel to a whole array of companies, things like Market Briefs, the financial newsletter, to Market Insiders, to now even a tax firm that I'm working on. You'll hear more details about that later on. But this is where Minority Mindset has spun out into so many other things that I would have never thought when I was getting started. And that's all because I led with the purpose of doing something that I was passionate about. Now, what does this mean for you? Because I've just been rambling about this for a long time. This is where you have to understand what is right for you. If you are one of those people where, you know what, I don't want to start a side hustle, I don't want to start a business, I just want to work my job, fine. See how you can provide more value at your job. How can you provide more value to your corporation, to your company, that way you can earn more money? If you can't, maybe you can start a second job. Maybe you can do something else to earn more money. If you want to do something else, maybe you can start a side hustle. Don't quit your job, do something in addition to it. Or maybe you can try to start your own business. There are so many other ways to earn more money in this economy, in this world, right off of your phone or your laptop, which has made earning more money so much more accessible. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's so much more accessible if you have the right education. And thanks to YouTube, you can learn literally whatever you want without spending a penny. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see why we might be entering a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build wealth and what you can do to capitalize on it, I already made a video covering it, and you can watch it by clicking that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling. When the 2020 pandemic happened, that was when the stock market and cryptocurrency was the biggest opportunity. Next time,